I am Celine. I am an acrylic painter. I'm in my second semester of painting. I'm in intermediate painting. I feel like I've had enough time doing this and everything under my belt to be able to recommend some pretty good products. But specifically, I'm like a very thrifty person. I love getting good deals on things, and I realize that now more than ever, people really need to cut costs and, be careful with how they're spending their money, me included. I thought, why not share some of the best finds for a painter that I've found at the dollar store. These ones are going to be more specific to Dollar Tree because I don't go in Dollar General. I don't find that they have good deals at all anyways. And the 99-cent store is pretty far from me, and mine's pretty old and crappy. One of the new ones that I've noticed came out, mine's actually from Joann's, but you can find this exact same water cup at the Dollar Tree. I just went today and I found them, and they have actually like green and red lids. They're non-spill cups, so they have a little funnel in there and then a lid. I don't really know how well these are at not spilling, but as far as not splattering, they work all right. It all depends on what you like. I actually have this one from Amazon that I like better that has 2 basins in it, and one side reshapes your brush and the other side you can scrub your brush off on. It has water in it, so I'm not going to show you the inside, but I'm sure you could find one. Mine actually came with a covered palette top, which I never ever use. You honestly don't need it. Especially if you're an acrylic painter, when you save them in there and you're using water to dilute your paints, it's gonna get moldy and it's gonna get funky. So there's no real way to save your paint like that. But this was the thing that I was excited about today because it's cute and it's the perfect size. I don't know if you guys keep up with me on social media, but on my Instagram, I was sharing this palette that I bought from Amazon, from a company called Jack Richardson, and it's huge. And I just didn't do my due diligence looking at the measurements. I just thought, I want the biggest one because I saw everyone buying tiny ones, and I was thinking, I'm really obnoxious with how I mix paint. This is actually my brother-in-law. Some of it is me, and I realized that I really don't need a palette this big. Surprise, surprise, what a twist. After I spent 20 bucks on that, but that's okay. That's not that bad. I had been using an 8x10 frame from the Dollar Tree, which you might have seen me make on this channel in my shorts, which I still use. It's still great, but it's a little bit bulky and it doesn't fit in my painting bag. So I had seen a lady on Instagram talking about how she uses the brownie trays to make like these cool paintings with rubber bands for her kids. Like she'll throw paper in there, wrap the whole thing in rubber bands, put paint on the rubber bands, and they flick them. And I was thinking, what if I used a baking tray for a palette? So I went and looked at them, but they were kind of bulky and they were still a little too big for my painting bag until I saw these guys. It's a cute little silver tray. You can find it in the baking and cooking section in your Dollar Tree. And I just thought, this is the perfect size. And it's funny because it fits inside of this palette like this. So even if you were just looking for a divider for a great big palette, like keep your lights or your lights or your colors or your darker colors on one side in another tray, and it fits right inside my painting bag. I don't have it with me, but it's a large cosmetics bag, and I just thought this is perfect. So yeah, the painting cup, great. That little palette, great. I'm actually getting ready to use it because I need to start working on this again. I just want to clarify that the reason why I love these metal tray palettes so much is because with acrylic paint, a lot of times you have to scrape off your palette, and it can be a pain in the ass, and it can also be really messy and really difficult, and you might not get all the paint, and it might get in your other paint whenever you're mixing on that palette again. To avoid that, these trays are awesome. All you have to do is run hot water, get the hot water in the very bottom of the tray and let it sit. When you come back with your palette knife, you won't have to scrape, it'll come right off. And it's actually kind of satisfying, so there you go. But my very favorite item that I've gotten from the Dollar Tree that is a staple for me are their little tiny canvases. Now, you can find multiple sizes, but the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because I have been looking everywhere at all the Dollar Trees lately for these 11 by 14 canvas panels. Don't bother getting the canvases, honestly. Canvases, even pretty well-made ones, can get really annoying. To me, in my opinion, I actually really side with my professor on this. Canvas panels, way easier to use, way less unwieldy than a real canvas. I mean, this is a 12 by 24, so it's not so bad, but I find myself almost dropping it a lot, which I hate because I am very clumsy. And these 11 by 14 ones are, you know, $1.25, and they're wonderful to work on. I brought one of these in to my painting class, and my professor he couldn't even tell the difference. In fact, I remember him complimenting my canvas, like an effect I had on it, because I covered it in so much gesso, like really sloppily, and it had some indentation from the brush in the middle, and you could see it through my painting. And so he actually complimented one of my dollar store canvas panels. So there you go. Approved somehow. Adjacently approved. Indirectly approved. My throat seriously hurts so bad. This is one of them that I gessoed over. The reason why I wanted to bring these up is because you can find what size you're comfortable with painting. Some people really love mini paintings. Some people like them a little bit bigger. This is the size of a sheet of paper in the US, pretty much. This 11 by 14 is my dream. I also recently painted on one of these 8 by 8 canvas panels, and it was pretty nice too, but I tend to like them larger. That's what she said. The 11 by 14 is just like the perfect size for me to practice on. But so if you're going to the Dollar Tree looking for painting supplies, definitely pick up some of the canvas panels. Skip the canvases, they're really not worth your time. They're really, really cheap and poorly made. I mean, honestly, if you're trying to practice, that's another thing, but I say stick with the canvas panels. It's a harder surface, it's easier to get your little sketches on there, etc., etc. Another thing, if you're heading to the Dollar Tree, these are things that I like, and like my professor is also a carpenter, so he was like perplexed as to how I found some nice wood there. But I just gessoed over this, and eventually I'll paint something on it, something fun. And these are little wooden door hangers. It does come with twine that it had in there that I took off so I could gesso it. Just a like really thin piece of wood, and I thought I could do custom do not disturb signs or something fun just to give out as a gift or something. Those are also at the Dollar Tree. They also have plaques and like hangable wooden signs in different shapes for the studio, or these wooden hanging shelves. I thought we could incorporate these close to the door or something and put plants on them. My brother said that he really wants some plants in here, and I've got plenty of those, so I'm gonna be doing that soon. I get masking tape from there, but I don't do any serious masking off on my paintings with those. Those are just for like hanging things, like hanging my picture, draping it over for reference. That's okay to use their tape for that. But if you're going to mask off, make sure you get the 3M, painter's tape. Don't F around. You're gonna get like some crazy bleeding if you do. And sponge foam applicator things. What are these? Sponge brushes. You're always gonna need them, and you might as well just get them cheap. So that's great. Another thing too that has really come in handy from the dollar store, these little clips. I use them inside my wardrobe where I have all my supplies, but there's also a rod in there for hanging your clothes, and I just picked these garden hooks up today. And I like to hang up my apron and my bags, my painting bags. I have a few that I cycle through depending on, what we're going to be doing in class. But these things are really great. You never know when you're gonna need these clips, especially when you have a plein air canvas like this. I've seen a lot of people where using clips, even binder clips really come in handy, but I think these are stronger than binder clips. They're actually for hanging your clothes to dry. This is going to be kind of a hot take, but they're really cheap painting brushes with like the green handle where there's so obviously crappy brushes. I actually picked up a pack of those because when I was first learning if I wanted to paint or not, I bought a bunch of supplies there and even paint and brushes. And it was because I wanted to see if this is something that I wanted to pursue without spending a lot of money. And I'm really poor. So I just thought, you know what, why not? If it doesn't really work out because the materials are crappy, I'll spend a little bit more on a little bit nicer materials and we'll go from there. And I did it, and I had a horrible time because I had no idea about mixing paint and color science. So I was trying to mix a purple with a scarlet pigment and like a like phthalo blue or something. So it was like a green blue and then like a super warm red, and it just kept coming out like this weird gray muddy color. So I kind of gave up until I registered for classes, and I was listening to my art appreciation professor saying that he taught painting, and I needed another class to fill in this slot. Anyway, that's how I got into painting. But I didn't spend a lot experimenting with the paint at first because I knew I needed to try it before I wrote it off, you know. So even with those really cheap paints that they sell there, make sure you're not getting tempera or tempera paints. Make sure that you're getting the acrylic paints and just try it out. If you're new to this, if you're having a similar vibe. Even the tubes of Liquitex basics that you can find at pretty much any craft store, those are a really good starting place for paints. And then make sure you know what the color wheel is and, you know, practice with that. And you should be good to go. Tutorials can help. Sometimes you can get stuck in tutorial hell, but yeah, that's my quick start guide for all of you people looking to be cheap and try out a new hobby possibly. I really, really encourage it because it completely changed my life, and it's opening a lot of doors for me and a lot of new opportunities, and it's just like, it's great. I love painting. If you guys need any advice on where else to find cheap supplies, let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching. Seriously, I've woken up with a headache for the past few days. I went out yesterday and interacted with like a ton of people, and I'm just like a little bit scared because like my throat feels like someone's cutting it with a knife. And so I ended up staying home from school, which really sucks because I haven't been having great attendance lately, which throws me off, throws every part of me off. But anyway, it's fine.